What's up, guys? So this is gonna be my fourth video, I think. Um, so I was gonna try and post every day last week, but we actually had a hurricane, Isis or Isaiah, something like that, that caused us to get power knocked out last this past Tuesday. Um, in like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, went up through like Maine. Obviously, I think it started in like Florida and whatever. Went up through just trees everywhere, wind was whipping. I was actually inside at work the entire time that was happening, so I got out, went home. There was no power. We ended up having no power from like Tuesday to like Saturday afternoon. So that kind of sucked. So I didn't post anything, but I was scrolling through on my phone, charging it at my workplace, and going from there. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the stories I have today are two topics actually. My first one I want to talk about is Jonathan Isaac. So, if you guys don't know, Jonathan Isaac is a current NBA basketball player. He plays for the Orlando Magic as a power forward. He went to FSU, so Florida State University. So, with everything going on in the country right now, um, in regards to Black Lives Matter, like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, um, the Black Lives Matter movement, the protests that are going on because of that. There's been an onus on like people who have positions of influence to do things for the community and like just have a voice out there. So Jonathan Isaac was the first number one first player since the NBA reopened on July 31st in their bubble in Orlando to not what's it called? He was the first player to not kneel for the national anthem. Even though the national anthem is banned, Adam Silver's like, "F that, we're just gonna make it so that you guys can kneel because I'm not down for that." Adam Silver's a really good commissioner for the NBA, so he's like, "Yeah, anyone can kneel." Jonathan Taylor, he decided that he was not gonna kneel, and he did not wear the Black Lives Matter protest shirt that all the players were wearing during the national anthem. So, of course, this caused him to get bashed. I wouldn't say rightfully so. I actually didn't wasn't a fan of the way the comments on Twitter and on Instagram of him just getting bashed and criticized, saying just disgusting and nasty things about him simply because he exercised his First Amendment right to not kneel for the national anthem. Um, so yeah, he didn't kneel. Big backlash from a lot of people. The NBA stood by him. The Orlando Magic, the coaches, the players, everyone involved. A lot of players in the NBA too. All stood by him and his choice, his First Amendment right, and his choice to not kneel for the national anthem because he felt that that was not his way of showing support for the Black Lives Matter movement. And he said like I support Black Lives, but he said he didn't support it in that way of kneeling for the national anthem, which, in my opinion, is perfectly fine. Like, there's different ways of protesting and different ways people want to do things, and I even think that it's better for there to be like one or two or a couple guys who don't do what the norm is doing. While the kneeling is obviously very powerful and gets a lot of attention because so many people watch the NBA, when everyone's doing it and then why one guy doesn't do it, everyone's like, okay, why didn't that one guy decide to kneel for the anthem? And that just brings discussion back to Black Lives Matter at the end of the day because now a lot more people are like, oh, why is this guy not kneeling? And he gives his reason for not kneeling. And it just puts more focus on Black Lives Matter in a different way than what the collective was doing. So I think any, like they say, any press is good press, even if it's negative. Like you're still getting attention and you're still getting clicks and views. And in this case of the Black Lives Matter movement, that's exactly what we want to get. So we can eventually get legislation and change passed that will make lives better for people of color. Jonathan Isaac, I'll link the description below the ESPN video as to why he decided to not stand for the anthem. But in short, or actually, I'll just read the quote that he has here. He says, I believe in Black Lives Matter, and kneeling while wearing Black Lives Matter T-shirt doesn't go hand in hand with supporting Black lives, is what Jonathan Issac said, and I completely agree with him. You don't have to kneel for the national anthem to show your support for Black Lives Matter. Like he's a black man himself, so I'm going to assume rightfully that he believes in black lives being equal to white lives. So to say that like he doesn't support Black Lives Matter is just kind of ludicrous to say, just because he's not doing what the collective is doing. Like the collective is deciding to kneel during the national anthem. NBA players, for the national anthem, they're going to kneel because that's what they want to do, to voice their protest, voice their concern, get their influence out there for there to see powerful people doing something that is going to need change for the collective, for the entire country. He decided that that's not his way he wants to go about doing it, which is perfectly fine. It's the First Amendment for him to choose the way he wants to protest, and he decided to exercise that because his belief in God, he said, he doesn't want to go about it that way. He wants to go about it in different ways. He said he doesn't support Black lives in that way. He says his life is supported by Jesus Christ, and the gospel is given a force. He said he knew it was going to be a tough decision, and there was going to be questioned, which of course happened. But he really believes in God. He leaned on God, and that's his plan for me. He took the decisions. He took the opinions that people have, the decisions that he made is his own choice and what he believes in. And he understands the protests and what's going on. But he looks to God for his answers, which is someone who also like has believed in God for a long time and has gone to church and like read parts of the Bible. Probably should read a little bit more than I have, but he's decided that that's the way he wants to go about it, because he doesn't believe that the two things go hand in hand. And like I said, it brought a lot of attention to it, which I just think is great for the Black Lives Movement and continuing the ball. Because LeBron James actually said in one article I was reading that like whenever these situations happen with Black lives, it seems like they happen and then they kind of fizzle out. And he said we got to keep our foot on the gas pedal, because we got to keep on going and going and making sure that we actually get change in the form of laws, in the form of legislation, in the form actual actionable change that we can see in the communities. Because if we just talk about it for a little and then it goes away, then we wait for another innocent black male or female to get injured, or even get shot and killed. It's not right, and we got to keep on keeping on. And I think Jonathan Issac, what he did, while some people may disagree with it, I believe that it's the ultimate like protest in like doing something from the norm of what everyone else is doing to voice concern. So that's what I feel about it. He informed his teammates and everything before it, and he just believed that that was the best way about him going about to show his concern for Black Lives Matter and how to protest. And I agree with him. I believe in the First Amendment dearly, and he exercised that beautifully and was able to create a lot of noise around the situation and further increase the amount of people looking towards Black Lives Matter who may have not looked at it. There's like, oh, it's just a bunch of guys kneeling. But then people go and look at who Jonathan Issac is. I know his jersey became like the second best-selling jersey, like right after he did this or something. Probably from like people who like, oh, I don't believe in Black Lives Matter. I just want to watch sports and not get into politics. And then he's like, no, like I still believe in Black Lives Matter. And I think that's cool because those people will buy his stuff and they're like, oh, let me see about Jonathan Issac. And they're like, oh, he still supports it. And maybe that will have them change their mindset and like actually see why we're doing the things that we're doing, why people are going out there and protesting, why people are going out there and pushing for change that's going to make the betterment of lives for Black lives.